John Paul Richter. The phrase is, or the word rather, is Weltschmerz. The melancholy sadness or feeling that's associated with the understanding that what we can create in here will never necessarily exist out in the real world. But this feeling is something I've been having a lot lately, and it actually is what kind of always tends to push my style along, is the idea that what's up in here I would love to have out in the real world. That's why I tend to build big sets and small sets and everything, and try to come up with an altered version of reality, which is my favorite. But that leads me to the remainder of my blog, which is essentially just me whining. So now is a safe time to hit the pause or stop button and and leave if you don't want to hear the remainder of this, which I totally understand. I've been kind of having this problem over the past few years, maybe 6 or 7 years. I had it when I was performing music, and now it's just getting worse and worse. But it's this world of the internet and Facebook and all of these, all of this kind of oversaturation of art and music and writing and everything all at once, I think is a kind of a double-edged sword. And obviously this concept has been discussed by a ton of different people, but what I'm kind of always been saddened with is not necessarily the oversaturation, but what's actually become of that, which is the lack of conversation between people. Because we have so much amazing material out there, because creativity is abound, and it is unbelievable. I am literally on a daily basis blown away by the creativity of people in general. But because that's everywhere around us, we're not letting that sink in anymore. We're not letting that become an important part of us, or an inspirational moment for us. We're not allowing that to transform into something beautiful that we could potentially put into our lives. Nowadays, we're kind of more of this what's next generation, which means you get something on your phone and you look at it and you're like, wow, what's next? Wow, share on Facebook, share on Twitter. What's next? What's next? What's next? And I think I'm equally guilty as probably most people are of, like, I wake up in the morning and usually I lay in bed for like 20 minutes and I look through my Facebook news feed and I see all the amazing things that people have posted, but it's like I tend to spend those 20 minutes on like one, I kind of look at one thing and let it blow me away. Last week there was one, it was a photo from 1941 during World War II of a bombing happening in Russia, but the photographer had captured these planes bombing, but right in front of him was this unbelievable shot of a reindeer that was like shell-shocked and stuck in this massive, war going around. I'll tell you, that hasn't left my mind since. I still see that image. It is so powerful and so unbelievable, and I guess my hope is that people still have that thing that sinks in. It's not like, that music and art is everywhere, but I would love to think that maybe we still get moved. That being said, obviously, maybe this has been said a million times, this whole concept. Maybe I'm just completely unaware and I'm out of touch, which is entirely possible. One of the big questions that I always have to think of with this, though, is, well, what does that mean for art? What does that mean for photography? What does it mean for music? What does it mean for all that? I mean, like, what's next? Where do you think art is going? Where do you think music is going? What do you think is happening? I would love to think that maybe this is just not necessarily that people are taking it for granted, but maybe this is going to charge on to like art only being, I don't know, a one-time occurrence, like, which I've seen before. Maybe people create art just to destroy it. So there is no what's next, or maybe that's it. Maybe what next is literally all that lives in that art. Is cool, that's done, moving on. And maybe the less people that see it, the more artistic it is. I don't know, it's an interesting concept, and I think maybe I'm just kind of feeling bummed out by it, but I've come to the realization for myself that I do art because I can't help it. I do photography because I have to get something out, and I did music because of that exact same reason. And you know, regardless if anyone sees it or anyone pays attention to it, I'm still going to continue to do it because I don't know what else to do. So that's my solution. But outside of that, I don't know. That's my whiny blog for the day. But thank you so much for listening, and I would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Obviously, this whole thing is just to start a conversation. Okay, I'll talk to you next week, and I'll be a lot more happy.